Hey, lovelies. Hey, it's an awesome Friday night. This has been a long but productive week. I hope everybody is doing okay. I am with positivity. So, thanks everyone for tuning in. Um, so, this is my first episode, and is from deplete to complete. And we're just going to talk about the dynamics of losing and getting back to a spot where you're still yourself in the game, and just a few things that have really helped me to be able to thrive and to be able to go from low areas. I've had times where there's been decisions that I've made in my journey that if I could go back and do it over again, I probably would do something different. But at the same time, making the decisions I made in losing, I was able to learn from that experience and come back from it. And that's basically, really what we have to do. And so I just want to share some of that positivity with you. We're going to share a video from one of my favorite mentors, the late great Maya Angelou, and we're just going to kind of dive in deep. I will be sharing some personal moments about my life and things that I've experienced. If you have anything that you want to add into anything, go ahead and leave that in the comments. Or if you want to message me later about a topic for a deeper dive, we can do that as well. We're here to do this thing together. So I'm glad you tuned in. The things that I really want to go over with you. Five of the things I really want to be able to go over with you that have really, really helped me. Number one, personally, when you're going from deplete to complete on a personal level, I want to share some things with you about that. Also, I want to share some things with you about how to handle things and things that have helped me when you're going from deplete to complete on an emotional level, from deplete to complete on a spiritual level. And that's really going to be something that can help anyone. Um, a lot of you know that I am an evangelist, and I'm actually an ordained minister as well, and a campus pastor at a church in North Little Rock. And so I am a Christian by faith. And so spirituality for me, that is definitely God based. But we're going to approach that from the point of what we as individuals can benefit from, no matter what our beliefs are or aren't. And then professionally, we're going to touch on that, going from deplete to complete on a professional level. And last but certainly not least, a financial level. And you guys know that with the pandemic, or even before the pandemic, there's been a lot of growing pains financially. Um, it could definitely be something that affects another person in some way that you love, and so we're as well. And I want you guys to understand that one of the things that is so important about pain, about being depleted, lost, lost a car, they're all on a journey. And although we are separate on that journey, we're also together on that journey. My experiences, you on your journey, your experiences can help strangers all the time that, you know, exchange a few words with one another. But for one way or another, we're helping each other to get there. So first and foremost, when you're dealing with being depleted of anything and you're going from deplete to complete, let's first talk about personally. On a personal level, that could be a death, that could be you losing a friend, that could be you just losing your ability to have the self esteem you've had. One of the things that definitely will help you every single day is making sure you clean something. It could be a desk, it could just be organizing your desk, it could be a counter, it could be something in the bathroom. Taking a shower gives you that sense of kind of leaving everything. I don't know a lot of scientific base for it, but I will say that beyond physicality and the cleanliness of taking a shower, on a psychological level, there's something about that that just really helps you to personally deflect. And when you're able to deflect, you're kind of drying, cleaning, washing away any type of negativity. So any feeling first thing in the morning, take a shower, get yourself fresh, get yourself new, get yourself into the mode of starting your day off new, no matter what you're dealing with. And by approaching that day in a positive way, you're going to be able to face that day in a positive way, even if you're in a negative situation. So that's definitely something that has helped me. Another thing from going to any type of fragrance, whether it be a candle, lotion, anything that gives you a positive vibe. Someone might like lavender, the other person might like vanilla. I happen to like fruity scents, sunflowery scents, anything that gives you an aura of positivity. Your senses need to be surrounded by something that is positive. And so, by being able to experience a positive or a pleasurable fragrance, that can definitely help you on a personal level to kind of have more of a positive outlook on your day starting out as well. So, that's something that you can definitely give a try as well. Another thing on a personal level that can help is listening to positive music. There's something about a positive song. It doesn't really matter the genre of music, just something that you know that's really upbeat or something that is soothing, whatever works for you. We all have that music, not even necessarily a particular song. It could be a particular sound, melody, or anything in particular that can kind of lower your senses out with that positivity. Go for that. Um, go for something that is really positive, and that's definitely going to be able um, to help you as well. Also, another thing on a personal level that can definitely help you is to be able to make sure, even if you're feeling down in the dumps, even if you are tired, get out of bed. You don't want to stay in bed for an extended period of time when you're feeling down. You want to be able to get up and kind of exercise yourself, not necessarily exercise, which that's not a bad idea, but exercises in, get out of bed. Even if you feel like you're down in the dumps, just get up anyway. Get out of bed, move around, stretch out. That's going to help you. That's definitely been something that's helped me. I had dealt with a death in the family a couple of years ago, and it was just really easy to stay in bed because I was up all night, thinking about the memories, thinking about any type of pain that she had experienced. And so I wasn't getting adequate amounts of sleep. I wasn't sleeping well. And so I got to the point where in the morning I would just want to stay in bed. Now, normally I would get up. Like my norm is usually between 5, no later than 6:30. But I would find myself dragging myself around, might get out to go to the bathroom and go right back to bed. But just try to make sure that you get out of bed. That is an amazing first step. Once you're up, you're out, your face hits the sunlight, even if it's opening the blinds temporarily, have something to drink, have a bite to eat, you'll be surprised what that can do. But by staying in bed, that's going to make you feel a lot deeper in the slump because it's comfortable. It's comfortable to stay in a spot where you don't really have to face the world. You don't really have to fine tune any of the stuff that you're dealing with. You're just kind of there and you're already down in the dumps to begin with. So that just makes it a lot worse. Now, the second thing that I wanted to talk about is how you can go from deplete to complete on an emotional level. I really have found journaling does a lot of good. It does a whole lot of good. With journaling, I feel like if we go back to, I'm going to say the first time I heard the word brainstorming, I think I was in elementary. And elementary school, we would brainstorm when we were working on projects for science, vocabulary words, history. And the whole idea of brainstorming was to write down words that came in your head related to any particular subject. And so, as adults, we may not think of brainstorming in that complex form. But journaling is a form of brainstorming your thoughts. And by brainstorming your thoughts, they don't have to be poetic. By all means, if you want to write poems, poems are very, very helpful. They're very, very soothing in expressing your feelings. So go ahead and do that. But even if you don't want to be poetic, even if you don't want to write complete sentences, writing down your feelings, what you feel, your thoughts, any actions that you want to think out, analyze, any future goals you may have, anything that you need to get out, actually down on paper because you really need to release it or because you want to manifest it in some form or fashion is always going to be something that helps you emotionally. So get a notebook, um, put it by your bed, put it in your office, put it in a place where you know that it's reachable. Another thing that I used to do is I would carry around a notebook. When I was experiencing a point in my life where I wasn't as self developed as I felt like I needed to be, and it was affecting the way I felt emotionally, I carried note cards around. And those note cards, they may have a grocery list on them, but the back of the grocery list, I would be talking about how I felt. It would have the date. And then I might, do a little doodling like we used to do when we were in school, or whatever, any type of positive thing. You're expressing that, you're manifesting it, and you're putting that to paper. So try to do that and don't think of it as writing a book or don't think of it as writing paragraphs or even sentences in its structure. Think of it as getting those words out of your head. And once those words are out of your head, you're going to be able to decide once you see those in a clear picture when you hit pen to paper if that's something that you want to manifest, if that's something that you just needed to get rid of, or if it's something that you want to work on further, like a goal, a dream, or some type of objective. Emotionally, that's definitely going to help you. Our thoughts, our words, but it's always good to make sure that we're deciding logically whether we're going to take those thoughts, those words, and make them into actions or make them into goals or make them into something bigger. So that's definitely going to be something that's helped me emotionally. And I know that it'll help you. So, emotional brainstorming is an absolute must when you're going from deplete to complete because it's going to help you sort things out. I promise you, it's going to make a big difference, and there's going to be less pressure on you to write complete sentences. And when you get to the point where you're able to journal complete sentences, you're able to utter thoughts, and you're able to really articulate your thoughts, that's going to be helpful as well. But you always have to start somewhere. And the best thing with emotional brainstorming to remember nobody has to see this. If you want to share it, by all means, share it. But the whole purpose of it is to help you. It's to help you sort things out emotionally. So try that emotional brainstorming. It's going to make a big, big difference from taking you from deplete to complete. I speak from experience. Okay, so third, spiritually. So we talked about earlier how this is something that each individual can benefit from, whether you're atheist, agnostic, Christian, not Christian. Look, dream it, do it. Some of that emotional brainstorming on a cup, sips tea. So, um, back to what we were talking about. Going from deplete to complete spiritually, one of the things that really helps me is being able to get some fresh air. There's something about the energy, as Christians we call it, spirit. Your energy being with Mother Nature, your energy being able to exhale, inhale fresh air. That's something that you need to do every day. It was the hardest thing for me as an adolescent to sometimes even want to go outside when I had moments of depression. But I will promise you, just like getting up in the morning, getting out of bed when I just wanted to be there in that slump, I always felt better after. Just like the physicality of feeling down, getting out of bed, cleaning something, taking a shower, turning on the radio or Googling music or whatever, those things, it may be a task to actually do them. But once you actually do them, you're walking outside, you're getting that breath of fresh air that's changing your energy. By changing the spiritual energy that you have, you're going to be able to take in something different. Don't overthink it, just do it. Go outside, breathe in, breathe out. We all have to start somewhere. And going back to the basics of spirituality is something that I think a lot of us have gotten away from. There are a lot of options, when it comes to that. One thing I will say is the universe is there. The trees, birds chirping, water rushing, anything that is nature, anything is pure, inanimate, even, all those things are energy, positive energy, fresh, new. To be able to take that in when you're in a moment of loss, when you're in a moment where you feel depleted spiritually, you can just by taking nature. And what better way to do that, running out your day with the breath of fresh air and air that is in our lungs is precious. Every single moment that we're able to breathe is precious. But when you're in that depleted moment, sometimes the simplest thing, like breathing in and breathing out, is taken for granted. But I promise you, to be able to take in that breath of fresh air and to be able to exhale, it gives you a new outlook on things, because as you're exhaling, imagine yourself releasing any type of negative energy that's come upon your spirit, come upon you in any way, form, or fashion because of a depletion, because of a loss in your life, because of something that you feel that's no longer available to you in one way or another. And I promise you, it's going to make the biggest difference. And the fourth thing is professionally. To getting a little bit more complicated. Of course, with that, that has a lot to do with other human beings most of the time, unless personal business. And then you have to deal with checks and balance. So it's different. I have lost jobs before. I will 40 work in, but all some form of sales and customer service for over 20 years. So I've been successful most of the time, but I've had some losses along the way. And professionally is one of those things. necessity that when you're on top, it feels good. When you're not on top, not so much. And when you lose, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't. And even sometimes, if professionally means while you're seeking your education, even sometimes if professionally means you're going after being self-employed entrepreneur, those individual thoughts and goals that you have for yourself are there for a reason. They're there because at one point or another, something suited what you needed. And when that's depleted or removed from your life, even if it's by choice, sometimes when we lose something, we miss it, but that doesn't mean we want it back. I've had jobs before that I've lost. I wasn't happy with those jobs, and I might have resigned or was dismissed or terminated for whatever reason. And it could be a job that was even toxic, but losing it doesn't feel good. And so when you're dealing with a professional loss, to go from deplete to complete, the first all always when we um, is that things just don't work out. Sometimes whatever it is that you're trying to pursue is not necessarily the right thing to pursue. Or you could be in the right field. You could be in the right field, but the company may not be a good fit, or the area of expertise that you're trying to pursue may not be a good fit. So there's a lot of factors that come along professionally. There's a lot of different reasons why you may lose out professionally. Just like there are a lot of things that you can look at from a perspective of that loss opens another door. Whenever I have been terminated from a job or I've had to resign, been forced to resign for whatever reason, um, a toxic environment, um, performance incompatibilities, or whatever the case may be, it's always been an opportunity. And it was never easy for me throughout the years. There was one time years ago that there was a job that I lost that it really did affect me a lot because I really took a personal interest in the job. It was definitely something that I invested in. But because I was investing in that job, that profession, but I was not investing in Felicia, I was depleted, not just of the job. I was depleted of the job because I was already depleted of myself. And so that's another thing you have to definitely go back and realize why you weren't performing, why it wasn't a good fit, why you may need to change your field of profession, why you may need to look at a different career path, or why the career path you have is a good career path, but you're not performing as you should. Why is this not a good fit? Why did this not work out? Especially if it has happened more than once, you really need to look inside yourself. A lot of situations that I look back at now in the past were situations that occurred because, again, there was something missing within myself. I wasn't devoted the way I needed to be devoted, or I was too devoted to the job and not devoted to self improvement. No matter how good you are at any job, any profession, there's always room for improvement. There's always a reason or the ability to grow. And that growth personally is going to end up allowing you to grow professionally. But you have to be ready, you have to be willing, and above all, you have to be committed. If you're not committed to growth within yourself, You can't be completely committed to growth within any, and it's going to show. A lot of the jobs that I've had in my lifetime were jobs that were not technically what you would call difficult on a live stream level. They were not something that I would care about anyone watching me do. They weren't the kind of job that, um, was so overwhelming. I don't know how I'm going to get this done. I can't even remember a time where I've had that kind of job, except maybe customers that I dealt with, maybe, I don't know, in food industry, restaurant sales, but not in a sense of it being difficult. Hey, Shannon, how are you? Thanks for tuning in. Um, but the thing that made these jobs challenging is because I was not working on Felicia. And the fact that I was not where I needed to be on a personal level, on an emotional level, or on a spiritual level, that caused me to be depleted in so many other ways. And so, what I had to start doing is I had to make sure that I was up every day, not the employee, but me, the best me. And when I was able to start showing up as an authentic version of myself, I was able to be empowered. And the more I was able to be empowered, I was able to perform better professionally. And so I was able to see myself not just as a good model employee, but also as a person who was willing to grow. And a lot of times in these professions, when we're doing a good job and we're performing, it gets stale after a while and it gets boring, not because of the job itself, but because we're there for the wrong reasons. We're best for the wrong reasons. We're performing from the wrong source. And that source needs to be the most authentic version of ourselves. And when we're able to go from just showing up, what's in our job description, we're able to start seeing our professional selves as just us. I can tell you now anything that you would ask me about the profession that I'm in. I am a sales representative. I've also worked with the sales activation team. I have worked as a mentor within the company. I have many hats that I've worn. And in the last 4 years in January, um, the difference in um, this particular position professionally is I showed up. I showed up to perform at my best, but I also showed up ready to be the best version. And that was able to empower me on so many levels. Um, Give me the extra boost to um, I try to be who I was. Self improvement starts from, and when you have that self improvement goal professionally, you're going to flourish in every, even feel like a task because I was just showing up as myself. It was so therapeutic to a certain degree. I, I was as a woman and as a person. Um, I've had a lot of success at my current position with the company that I'm in because of that. Not to say that I haven't had success at other companies in other positions, because I have. But when you show up or you, it's different professionally because it feels authentic. And you don't have to just perform as you, and the rest kind of falls into place. So those losses, those depletions that you dealt with at other professions or um, I've had a couple of companies that I've tried to endorse and some freelance as well. And I'm finding my niche, my little niche, a lot of times in a lot of things. Also, in addition to what I do for the company that I'm with. And in the past, there have been companies that kind of looked flashy, and so I jumped for it. There's also been a company that I've recently endorsed that I was a personal success story of that, and the feeling was different. And there's steps that you take within yourself professionally to continue to show up. We talked about earlier how emotionally, when you're going from deplete to complete, how that emotional brainstorming list is always good. Professionally, that's going to take you to new heights as well. Let me tell you why. You can be the best performer, you can show up, you can show out, and you can even show up as the best you. But the reason that you're still going to need to have that brainstorming list with you is because after a while, you're going to want to reinvent yourself. If you ask time I for my position, the first time I was awarded in my position, and the time that I received advanced recognition, training in my position, and so on and so on, exactly where I want to be. I'm always going to want to go to the next level. And that doesn't always mean a promotion. That doesn't always mean moving up in the company. It just means, hey, Becky, the emotional brain list, what you're going to do is just take any notebook, piece of paper, note card, and just write down any thought that in your head really that depleted out of your life. Anything that you've lost before. Um, and that's not just negative, that can be positive, that can be anything. It can also be goals that you have as well. Anything that you feel is something that you need to get out. Sometimes it's good to have someone to talk to. It's good to be able to have a confidant, or even, I'm an advocate for therapists if that's what you need, because sometimes we all, need things that are a little bit more specific to our needs when we're going from deplete to complete. But with that emotional brain list, basically, you brainstorm whatever comes to your mind. Then you're going to go back and you're going to look at that list and you're going to add to it. Uh, it's just an exercise that I've done at times in my life where I've lost and I felt like I didn't know what my next step was going to be. And so the purpose of that for me would be for me to reflect my thoughts. You know, you got to think before you form it. And just like anything else, once you go back and reflect on that list, you're going to analyze it because that's what we do naturally. It's human nature. So then I would wait a couple of days and start going back and seeing how the lists change and how they stay the same. And then I would try to analyze what you want to keep, what you want to dismiss. You can put a line through some things if you want. But the purpose of that is to get out some of that negative energy or to manifest some of the positive energy. And that is so hard to do when you're depleted of something that you love, or if you're trying to get yourself back on track. So that's really worked for me a lot when I just really didn't have the emotional energy to put into complete sentences. But that's a good form of starting journaling. And back to the professional, um, I really feel that professionally, whenever you're feeling like you're at a loss, those are going to be some of the times where I've really been able to grow. I've really been able to grow to the next level because when I look back at those companies that I had to resign from, or I was let it took a place where position or the next company that I became a part of was better for me. It's always been a better fit. So I'm not going to say that that's the experience with everybody. I don't know your situation, but I will say that you're welcome, Becky. Love you. What I will say is I've never had a professional loss that I didn't grow from when I came back from that. I've never had a loss that didn't turn out to be a gain in some way. See, if I had those losses, then I wouldn't be at the point where I am now. So looking back at that, experience of pleasure or power. And that's really how you can go from deplete to complete when it comes to those. No matter for you, a lot of times when you can feel it, even if you have to do something temporarily to put food on the table for you and your family, you can always get yourself to a point where you're ready to move to the next level. And then lastly, sips tea. Financially, going from deplete to complete. For me, this has taken a lot of creativity. Um, Yard sales, um, sometimes um, being able to have that creative mind thinking where you don't really want to accept, but you have to. And that I feel financially is the biggest thing. Um, you have to be more realistic with yourself when you're talking about a financial loss. Getting back to where we started at the introduction of the video, the pandemic has definitely been one of those roller coaster rides. I've been fortunate to continue working throughout the pandemic, but a lot of people have not. And in being creative, bake sales, um, online, challenges, contests. There's so many online businesses that people are trying to run. You have to be very creative when it comes to financial depletion because to go from deplete to complete, you can't be too prideful. We are all human. And with us being all human, and I might got a couple minutes. Maya Angelou is definitely one of those that has been a major inspiration to me. And there's just the way that she presents things in a way where, you get it. We've all been there. It's not something that we really talk about a lot, but don't ever be one of those people that thinks nobody has ever been in this place before. Even if it's not the exact scenario, you have to always remember when it comes to being financially depleted, you have to ask for help. Some financial loss is never going to be obvious. And so, your friends and family who actually care about you and the resources that are available for you, they say closed mouths don't get fed. So, you really need to be able to not just be creative, but try to be as possible. Now, I'm not telling you to just get out there and completely broadcast your business, but one of the mistakes that I've made in my life is kind of thinking of myself as being on an island, and when it comes to financial loss, everybody is dealing with something. And even during the times where I was financially secure, it kind of gives you this financial PTSD if you're not careful. Because it's like, yeah, we're doing so good financially, everything is going great. But in the back of your mind, you remember those tough times. It's always good to be creative. To it's just $5 out of every amount of revenue. Always have I'll try every we mentioned earlier, bake sales, anything you can do to creatively bring in some extra money makes a big difference. And don't be ashamed. You would be surprised how many people have been where you are in a financial depletion. And to go from deplete to complete, one of the things that has helped me is understanding that other people have been there. A lot of times in my mid 20s, I had a lot of financial issues. It's very stressful. It makes you feel ashamed, but it's always going to be something that you need to share. Those are never burdens that you need to take on by yourself. I found that most people are going to be very understanding of things like that. And during the times that I have been able to help others, I've been, more than willing because I understand, how that is. It's Don't let pride cause you to not reach out. There are resources available. There's always a creative way. And sometimes you might have to work a job that you really don't want to be at for that long, but you have to do what you have to do. Always keep your eyes on the prize. Don't ever get in a situation you want to accept a situation. That's the biggest thing with financially going from deplete to complete. Don't ever accept any type of financial slump for the long haul. You can accept it for the time that you're in it. You can be very realistic, but don't accept it in the fact of not wanting to see the bigger picture. Always envision yourself being financially okay, being financially abundant. The reason being is what you tell yourself is what you become. So if you're in a financial slump and you tell yourself this is how you're going to be forever, there's no light at the end of the tunnel, you don't see any solution, then you're going to psychologically cause yourself to continue to be there. Like we talked about earlier, that financial slump PTSD that some of us get. Sometimes I definitely, remember times in my 20s where I just didn't know what I was going to do. A lot of that had to do with money management, but a lot of that was just kind of going through a cycle. So once you break that cycle, you're able to see the light at the end of the tunnel and start using some of that creativity to understand this is not always going to be this way. But you have to keep telling yourself that. And so the more you tell yourself that, the more creative you're going to be, the more you're going to be able to kind of understand ways to get out of that and not go back into it or not hit so hard financially. So there's definitely options there. At this time, I want to go ahead and share the of Maya Angelou, and we can discuss it a little bit after.
If I think of my life as a class and what I've really learned, I've learned a few things. First, I'm aware that I'm a child of God. It's such an amazing understanding to think that the it, which made fleas and mountains and rivers and stars, made me. What I pray for is humility, to know that there's something greater than I. And I have to know that the brute, the bigot, and the batterer are all children of God, whether they know it or not. And I'm supposed to treat them accordingly. And it's hard, and I blow it all the time. Statement by Terence. The statement is, I am a human being. Nothing human can be alien to me. If you can internalize the least portion of that, you will never be able to say of an act, a criminal act, or I couldn't do that. No matter how heinous the crime, if a human being did it, you have to say, I have in me all the components that are in her or in him. I intend to use my energies constructively as opposed to destructively. If you can do that about the negative, just think what you can do about the positive. If a human being dreams a great dream, dares to love somebody, if a human being dares to be Martin King or Mahatma Gandhi or Mother Teresa or Malcolm X, if a human being dares to be bigger than the condition into which she or he was born, it means so can you. And so you can try to stretch yourself. So you can internalize, homo sum, humani nihila me alienum puto. I am a human being. Nothing human can be alien to me. That's one thing I'm learning.
Hey, yeah, my she is definitely a legend. My Angelou is a legend. Well, I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Um, the biggest thing I want to say about the video is as human beings, no matter what you're dealing with, no matter what losses you have, always try to remember that we're all just trying to figure this thing out together. We're all human, we're all here for a purpose, and we're just doing the best we can. The sky's the limit. You just have to be able to grab life by the horns and go with it. So, thanks everyone for tuning in to Positive Tea with Fee. And you guys have a wonderful weekend. See you later.